From the studios of the Bakersfield Californian, it's time to open up with real people and real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
Welcome to Open Up. I'm Tina Miller.
And I'm Don Clark.
We are your favorite pair on the air.
Oh, we sure hope so. Thanks for joining us. Listen, we're going to get right at this today. Listen, have you ever been in trouble with the law? Have you ever had unpleasant encounters with the police? Have you ever just found yourself in jeopardy and not knowing quite what to do? You know, there's a movie that's out now. It's called Straight Outta Compton. And it's about the history of the hip-hop and rap movement, and particularly the animosity between police and a whole segment of our society, which is very much in the news here in America these days for all our viewers across the Atlantic and around the world. And we have with us today one of the partners of a crucial law firm here in Bakersfield that deals with all these issues in a very sensitive and professional way. And we're very pleased to bring now Jesse Whitten of the law firm of Campbell Whitten Criminal Defense here in Bakersfield.
Good morning, Jesse. And welcome to Open Up.
You bet.
Thank you. And Clayton's supposed to be on his way. He got unexpectedly tied up in court.
So there you go. That's how busy these guys are. If you live here in Bakersfield, you'll know that Campbell Whitten Law Firm, one of the most heavily advertised firms here in town. They have I love their ads in the movie theater where the hand writes and they talk about getting you back to your real life after you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so anyway, Jesse, thanks for being with us.
Yes,
and
thanks for having me on.
Very impressive what you're doing here. Tell us what are the most common kinds of things that you find yourself defending people against accusations by the police or some other entity.
It varies a lot, but I mean DUIs are a big thing. For obvious reasons, there's a big crackdown on drinking and driving, domestic violence, people, get in arguments and someone calls the police. And then a lot of times the police will show up there and they'll say, no, we don't want any charges to be pressed. It was just an argument. Too late at that point, if accusations have been made, police will usually arrest somebody. But it's hard to say. It's hard to pinpoint because it seems like every day there's a completely new scenario that you would never expect just when you think you've heard everything. There's something that is completely unexpected. So, and the number one thing people say to us when they come into our office is, I saw your guys' ads, whatever. Never thought I would need a criminal defense attorney. I'm not a criminal. I don't, and they're in shock at being on the other side of this, and they can't believe how they're being treated. Because they realize, hey, I'm not a criminal. Why am I being treated like one? And they don't, once you're kind of accused, you're accused. And so, people don't expect this stuff to happen. It's usually unexpected situations.
And Jesse, are we talking all across the socioeconomic spectrum, rich and poor, all races? What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, we're a private law firm. So there's a lot of people who, for whatever reason, have kind of gotten stuck in a criminal pattern to where they're repeatedly committing criminal offenses. They usually have court-appointed attorneys. So a lot of the people that come to us are people with jobs or family supports. So they're very normal people, and it goes across all spectrums. And one way or another, they found themselves in a situation. So it is very, very broad. I mean, as you'd expect, it is more the younger men seem to, go through that phase that get themselves into some trouble. But it's not limited to that. It's all
when they
types of
say,
people.
I can't believe, I'm not a criminal, I can't believe how we are treated. Give us some examples of people. What is that treatment that they can't believe they're receiving at the hands of law enforcement?
I don't know where to start exactly. It's just like you're not a person at that point. And at a certain point, you're a person with rights and you're treated with respect. And then in a minute, all that's gone. All that's gone. You're at the mercy of someone else. You're handcuffed and put in a cage and told to, basically follow orders, and that any concerns you have kind of don't matter at that point. And I'm not even talking about in a sense that it's abusive. It's just that you're either in society, you're in the protected class, and as soon as you're out of that, it's people. And if you go on any type of social media, people always assume guilt. I mean, as soon as people haven't even been arrested, their faces on the news as a suspect, and people are already deciding what the penalty should be. And they're like, well, we think they should get this much time. We think they should get the death penalty, whatever. There's a broad spectrum. No one ever says, well, maybe they didn't do it. It's always just like automatic assumption. And so it's interesting to see people because they'll be the same way. One day they'll be on their Facebook, oh yeah, can't believe that scumbag did that. And then next day they're in that position and they're saying, no, I didn't do it, or there's an explanation, or you don't understand, there's more to the story. And it's hard to be on the other side of that, to where everyone's assuming that they're guilty. And it's a frightening experience.
Wow. Jesse, tell us a little bit about your background.
I grew up in Colorado, and then moved out here to California, and everyone always asks me how I ended up in Bakersfield, but probably the same way everybody ends up in Bakersfield. I had a friend out here and a kind of a job opportunity, and then said I made the mistake of saying I wouldn't stay, and then met my wife, and we have 2 kids now, and her parents live nearby, and so, but it's grown on me too, so I don't mind it so much. I met Clayton Campbell, is my partner, who's supposed to be here at some point, but we met in law school. Actually, our first year in law school, it was kind of a distance learning. He's actually from Illinois, but we met in law school, and so I was practicing criminal defense, doing a lot of. I was representing people who were on parole, who violated their parole, and we ended up working in the same office, and then we decided to make Campbell Whitten and kind of.
What was it that clicked between you two? What was the chemistry there?
I don't know, it's hard to say. I don't know.
Let's see. We'll wait till he gets here to ask that question.
Because we kind of hit it off right away in law school, and he was a year ahead of me, but kind of just gave me some of the best advice as far as what to study and what to pay attention to, and we come up with these different harebrained ideas for businesses or ventures to go on, and so it's fun. We've enjoyed working together. We kind of.
Tina, as a footnote on coming to Bakersfield, Jesse, let's just tell the world out there that, our own mayor says no one ever comes to Bakersfield of their own free will. But he adds, once here, no one ever leaves of their own free will, because they discover this is a pretty special spot, very unique.
Yeah, and the legal community has been great here. There's a lot of the older, more experienced attorneys are very welcoming and want to help the kind of the newer attorneys and people coming up. This is very supportive, which it could be completely different, as far as some of them feeling threatened or whatever. But it's a very you couldn't ask for a better sort of legal community to be an attorney in. It's a very supportive legal community.
We had a prior conversation with Jesse and Clayton yesterday, and they indicated they're in a very interesting position. They're defending people who actually can get a free lawyer if they want one. Kind of tell us that challenge in it.
Yeah, that is one of the things, that you're provided an attorney if you can't afford one, and a lot of people in this position, they're getting family help and stuff, but. Yeah. It is kind of this is more just from a sort of marketing aspect, but it's challenging because most of our clients, for one, never think they're going to need an attorney, so they're not really paying a ton of attention to, criminal defense attorneys out there, and then if they get arrested, it's a very small percentage of people that, in numbers, it's quite a few, but if you're talking percentage of the people, it's a small percentage who get arrested. It's sort of unexpected, and they usually want to hire an attorney pretty quickly, so it's a very small window. So it's kind of a hard target to hit. But that's kind of why we've done some of the marketing and stuff to try to get our name out there, so that when people do find that themselves in that position, they hopefully they'll give us a call. But.
One of my favorite lines out of a movie says, this is the FBI guy says to the guy, and if you can't afford an attorney, a really crappy one will be assigned to you. Is there a difference between?
Well, there's a big difference, but I think that's unfair to say that they're crappy attorneys. I think it has more to do with the workload. That if you just show up in court, the public defenders are typically there every single day in court all day with a stack of about 20 cases, and their clients have to kind of wait in line sometimes just to talk to their attorney, and then they kind of get to them. And to where when we go to court, we've been working on one case. We'll show up in court on one case. We've been on it a month. We've had investigators going on it. We've been talking to witnesses.
Okay.
We've been kind of coming up with a strategy of how we're going to approach this, this one case. We've talked about it amongst ourselves.
Yes.
And, so sometimes it's just time and experience too. Sometimes depending on your case, the system, both the public defenders and the district attorneys, the deputy public defenders and deputy district attorneys, they start you off with the misdemeanors, like the lower level of crimes, all the way up to the death penalty. They figure the more time somebody can get, the more serious the penalty, the more experienced attorney they should get.
Okay.
But sometimes that discounts the impact that they may consider a lightweight crime, misdemeanor, but that can ruin somebody's life. And so, maybe they're not looking at the rest of their life in prison, but sometimes the person who's looking at the rest of their life in prison has already had a long record, and that was kind of where they were headed, to where somebody who gets charged with a DUI or something, and now they're looking at losing their license and possibly losing their job and their career plans, and it can have a huge impact. So they're getting an attorney who literally may be their first month on the job, or usually within the first year at least of their practice, they sort of move them up. And so they're getting a very new attorney with the kind of attitude, you're not risking the rest of your life in prison, but they may
Jesse,
be risking a lot.
Let's take a break, but we'd like to hear more about this.
I'll tell you what,
when
when we come back, why don't we let's pick his brain about what you should do if you're arrested. If you find yourself arrested, how you should conduct yourself. Let's hear that
I talk
advice.
about this daily. So.
All right, we'll be right back.